You said earlier when you formed the B2C board, there was nothing magical about it. You just created the time. It also occurs to me, one, you had the humility to say, guys, I need your help with this. You also created a kind of a structure for accountability and then also some community. We've talked about prioritizing the time. Say more about the humility, the community, bringing other people into it with you. I know so many business owners struggle with feeling like they have to be the Lone Ranger on this.
Oh, I'm the most miserable when I'm a Lone Ranger. Like I said, I like to roll with a posse. Let me tell you something. It makes life so much more fun. For me, one of my core values as a person is just fun. And so I think that was a big part of it. Most of the people that I put in that room that day and still hang out with were already my friends. And that's a whole different subject for a different day. But I believe strongly in being friends with the people you lead and the people that you work with. Life's too short for anything other than that. But we'll talk about that another day. But I just told them, I said, I by nature am very vulnerable. I don't have a good filter. If I think something or feel something, I tend to overshare. That is who people know me as. And so I basically forced that on all of them. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to dump thoughts out on paper, and then we're going to share them with each other. And one of the exercises we did early on was everyone took a turn, and keep in mind there's 13 of us. It took a while, but we met weekly, and everyone took a turn, and they had to come in, and they had to share with their peers, and sometimes there were people in there that were above them or at peer level. They had to share three things. One is they had to share the thing going on with their team they were the most proud of, the thing going on with their team they were the most concerned about or maybe had shame around or whatever. And they had to share the people on their team, who was the standout rock star and who was the one person struggling the most. Now, around our organization, that's a big deal because we have such high standards for ourselves and for each other. If you walk into a room of leaders and you talk about someone on your team struggling, your fear is they will get labeled a certain way and not be able to overcome that. But we taught each other that we were going to have a safe place where we could talk about what was struggling in our area, who was struggling in our area. And it was amazing the insight that came out around the table. Someone would share about someone on their team struggling and someone else would pipe in and go, oh yeah, I've been in a couple meetings with them. I've seen what you're talking about. I had that same thing happen on my team last year with so-and-so, and here's how we worked through that. And so there was a lot of just natural collaboration that happened. And what happened too was the minute the first person shared something they were ashamed of that wasn't winning, it just relaxed the whole room and it built a trust that went from 0 to 10 in 5 seconds that you cannot manufacture any other way. And that just built and built and built over time.
It's super disarming. Like when you own your crap, no one feels like they need to tell you about your crap because it's like, oh, well, you called yourself out there. I agree. It builds trust. It sounds like it also built a kind of a think tank is the wrong phrase. That sounds weird. But, when you get other people to see that same problem, you get new insights. I imagine some of the people that were struggling ended up being developed and kind of resolved those issues and grew as a result of you having access to this group.
Yeah, absolutely. And we would follow up the next time it was your turn. You would say, hey, I told you guys back a few months ago that so-and-so was struggling. Well, they're actually doing great now. And here's the story. Here's what's going on.
See, that's what it's about. I love that.
Very cool.
Yeah, because when team members, we've all struggled at certain points. And I believe most people are probably doing the best they can with what they have. And more than judgment and being written off, if you can start with developing them, checking in, letting them know there's a problem, a lot of people will rise to the occasion.
Yes.
It's interesting. I don't know if everybody caught this. You formed this B2C board, and many of the people in that group report to you. So this is not like an outside council where it's totally objective. I mean, some of these people are looking at you as their leader going, is it safe to share everything that you're asking me to share? That's weird for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of business owners would go, I can't be that vulnerable with my team, or they're going to say more about this.
It would change everything for you.
How do you get into it?
You just do it. I was so nervous the first year of leading those meetings, I would spend hours not hours, but I would spend a lot of time trying to prepare for the meetings. And I would walk in the room so anxiety ridden, like, how are they going to accept this? And how are they going to perceive me? And it was so anxious for me, but I just did it. I'm the type of person, if something makes me really nervous or anxious, I bite the bullet and I just do it to get it over with. I don't procrastinate. And so I say, one of my big phrases that people laugh about me saying all the time is, put your big boy britches on, put your big girl britches on, just do it. And Christy Wright always says, do it scared. I love that. And so no matter how scared you are, how uncomfortable it is, just do it. Because I promise you, and you can call me, you can email me if it doesn't work. I promise you it will work. If you have naysayers, they probably need to go. Because real human beings who are excited to be a part of your organization will latch on to what we're talking about like they've never latched on to anything in your organization. They're hungry for it. They're hungry for their leader to inspire them and open up and be vulnerable with them and show that you're a real human being that they can connect with and strive to become. And my guys are mostly all leading their own groups doing these same exercises and have been. And it's just made its way through the organization. It's been very cool in that way.
It seems like it's really important that you as the leader are modeling the vulnerability. Most people look at their boss or their leader as an authority figure, and their whole life, authority figures all the way back to in school were teachers who gave you a grade. And there's a large sense of judgment and shame tied to authority figures. And so if you're the leader, you really have to reframe that. And in the way that you model this, you've got to be vulnerable. You've got to not zap them when they say something that, you could because of your title, but you're going, hey, thanks for sharing that. And I see you, and I'm not going to judge you as a result of that. What are the keys to doing that well? We have to hold people accountable, but we also have to create an environment where it's safe for them to do this vulnerability thing.
I think by you being vulnerable as the leader, it does create that safe place. If you have an issue where you're zapping people, that's a different issue. I don't know how you resolve that, because when I, quote, zap my guys, it doesn't feel like a zap to them. They don't love being course corrected. No one does. Everyone wants to think they're awesome all the time. But when I course correct them, it never feels like a zap, because we have such a depth of relationship and we've been so vulnerable with each other for so long. They know I deeply love them and care about them. And I can just have a quick conversation with one of them and be like, hey, when you did this in staff meeting, here's how it came across. Just next time, do X, Y, and Z. And then 3 minutes later, we're telling jokes and laughing. It's very natural. There's nothing forced about it. There's no call a formal meeting and do the formal sandwich. Hey, you're really awesome, but you need to work on this, but you're still really awesome.
Right.
It's just a natural conversation. And they don't seek out being course corrected, but they don't feel it like a slap in the face.